So today we are going to start with the chapter molecular basis of inheritance. Okay, but before starting we should be aware, before the basic concepts, we should be aware of all the characteristic features of the genetic material, that is DNA. Okay, when we come to a gene is nothing but it is the hereditary unit that is present in DNA. Now DNA is a long polymer of deoxyribonucleotides. The length of the DNA is usually defined as number of nucleotides or a pair of nucleotides referred to as base pairs present in it. This also is the characteristics of an organism. For example, a bacteriophage known as Cy*174 has 5386 nucleotides. Bacteriophage lambda has 48502 base pairs. E. coli has 4.6 into 10 raised to 6 base pair, and the haploid content of DNA, okay, that is the haploid, the half content in the human DNA is having 3.3 into 10 raised to 9 base pairs. Okay. Now when we come to the basic structure of the DNA, okay, or the nucleic acid, it is discovered by Friedrich Miescher. Okay, substances present in the nucleus having acid properties are called nucleic acid. So it was discovered as by Friedrich Miescher, and they found certain acidic substances present in the nucleus and they call that as nucleic acid. Now nucleic acids are nothing but are the polymers of nucleotides or polynucleotides. Two types of nucleic acid are present. First is the DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid, genetic material, okay, of most of the organism, and the RNA, that is ribonucleic acid. This is the genetic material in some viruses. Some RNA act as the catalytic molecule, okay, like the ribozyme. You have already learned about this in class 11th. Okay. Now the chemical nature and structure of polynucleotide can be, as you can see that the formation of nucleotide consists of three components, that is sugar plus phosphate plus nitrogenous bases. When we say what is nucleoside, nucleoside is nothing but sugar plus nitrogenous base. Now when phosphate group is added to this structure, okay, this is nucleotide, and without phosphate group the compound which is formed is called nucleoside. Now nucleotide is nothing but nucleoside plus phosphate. Okay. Now what is the role of phosphate? It makes the nucleic acid acidic. Okay, so the acidic compounds which were found in the nucleus and which were called as nuclein were actually acidic because of the phosphate. It is attached to the 5' OH group of the nucleoside. Okay, nucleoside was sugar plus nitrogenous bases, and we added what? We added this 5' OH group, so it became nucleotide. Now this is attached at the 5' OH of nucleoside by a linkage which is called as phosphoester linkage. You have to remember this. It is attached to the 5' OH of nucleoside by the phosphoester linkage. Okay, you can see here the addition of the phosphate group. Now this is the sugar, okay, and this phosphate is attached at the 5' OH of the sugar. Okay, that is nucleoside. Nucleoside means the nitrogenous base plus the sugar molecule. Now the sugar which is present in this DNA is pentose sugar, that is ribose. Okay, ribose is also present in RNA, but in DNA the structure of ribose and deoxyribose is almost same, except that at the third position, okay, at the third position what is present? An oxygen, or at the both of the ribose sugar are same. Okay, in RNA we can say that there is presence of an additional OH group at the second position in the ribose. See, this is ribose, okay, and this is deoxyribose. So Now here you will see here that here this second position OH group is present, and in this deoxyribose the O part is removed. Okay, the oxygen is removed, and so we call that as deoxy. Oxygen is removed, so we call it as deoxyribose. So in RNA this ribose sugar is present, while in DNA ribose and deoxyribose structure is almost same except the second carbon where the oxygen is removed, and in DNA this deoxyribose is present. Okay. Now when we talk about the nitrogenous bases, there are two types of nitrogenous bases present in the nucleic acid, that is purine and pyrimidine. So purines are adenine and guanine, and pyrimidines are cytosine, thymine and uracil. You can see the diagrams. This is the guanine and adenine, which are the purines, and you can see here pyrimidines, which are cytosine, thymine and uracil. Okay, when we talk about the structure, you can remember the structure, it would be good. Now the purines, as you can remember this, the name is very short, but the structure is 2 cyclic rings. Okay, 2 heterocyclic rings, and here the pyrimidines, the structure, the name is long but the structure is very small. Okay, so guanine, adenine are the purines, and pyrimidines, cytosine, thymine and uracil. Uracil is present in the RNA. Okay, now you can see the structure of this. Okay, this is the nitrogenous base. Okay, this becomes a nucleoside in which the sugar is added. Okay, and this uracil is added at this position. Okay, so it is sugar plus the base, nitrogenous base. So it is what? It is nucleoside. It is what? It is nucleoside. Now when phosphate group is added, as you can see here, when the phosphate group is added, okay, this becomes what? This becomes nucleotide. So nucleotide is nothing but nitrogenous base, sugar and phosphate group. Okay, now when we talk about the polynucleotide chain is nothing but the combination or the attachment of various nucleotide to form a long chain. So 2 nucleotide chain are joined by the 3' and 5' phosphodiester linkage when we talk about the DNA. Okay, one end contain phosphate group which is attached at the 5' end of the ribose sugar. Okay, it is called the 5' end, and the other end contains the OH group, free OH group of deoxyribose sugar. Okay, at the 3' end. In a polynucleotide chain, sugar and phosphate form backbone and nitrogenous bases are joined to it. So when we discuss, or when we say what is the polarity of the DNA, we say that this is the 5' end and this is the 3' end, and the chain which will be opposite to this will have the opposite polarity, like the 5' end will be in the here and the 3' end will be here. Okay, so RNA contain an extra OH at the second position of the ribose. Okay, and it contains uracil in place of thymine, and uracil is nothing but 5-methyl, is nothing but 5-methyl uracil. Okay, another chemical name of thymine. Now the DNA is a polymer of deoxyribonucleotides. Length of the DNA depends on the number of nucleotides. This I already told that bacteriophages, this Psi 174 is having this, lambda is having this much amount of base pair, E. coli is having this, and haploid cell DNA is having this. Now it is acidic substance present in the nucleus. It was first identified by Friedrich Mischer. He named it nuclein. Okay, and in 1953 James Watson and Francis Crick proposed a simple and famous double helix model for structure of DNA. Now one important rule which you have to remember is there. This is Chargaff rule, and this states that A by T, that is adenine by thymine, is equal to 1, and C by G, that is cytosine by guanine, is equal to 1 in DNA. Okay, now this is the Chargaff rule, and it says that the proportion, okay, the proportion in the DNA will be like that. The ratio between the adenine and thymine and guanine and cytosine are constant and equal one. Okay. Now complementary base pairing is there. If sequence of one strand is known, then the sequence of other strand can be known. Now we will see this, like A will have double bond with T. Okay. A will have double bond with T, and G will have triple bond with C. Okay. So if this is the one strand, this contains thymine, cytosine, and this is the other strand. If we know this, that this strand is having thymine and cytosine, we know that the other strand will be having this adenine and this strand will be having guanine. Okay, so the last point says that complementary base pairing means if the sequence of one strand is known, the sequence of other strand can be predicted. Now salient features of the DNA double helix model are, it consists of two polynucleotide chain, okay, sharing opposite polarity. Okay, it is made up of two polynucleotide chains where the backbone is constituted by sugar phosphate and the bases project inside. Okay. Now the two chains have anti-parallel polarity. That means if one runs at 5' to 3', the other will run from 3' to 5'. Now the nitrogenous bases are paired with the help of hydrogen bond. Okay, the bases in the two strands are paired through hydrogen bond, forming base pairs. Adenine forms two hydrogen bonds with the thymine from opposite strand and vice versa. Similarly, guanine is bonded with cytosine with 3 hydrogen bonds. As a result, always a purine comes opposite to a pyrimidine. This generates approximately uniform distance between the two strands of the helix. Okay. Now you can say that, see here, that AT is having 2 hydrogen bond and GC is having 3 hydrogen bonds. Now the two chains are coiled in a right-handed fashion. Okay, so the pitch of the helix is nothing but the distance of each turn, that is 3.4 nanometer. Okay, and distance between the base pair is 0.34 nanometer. This you can calculate like this. The in one helical turn 10 base pairs are there and the distance is 3.4. The distance is 3.4 and the distance between two base pair will be calculated like 3.4 divided by 10. So it is 0.34. So the distance between the two base pair will be 0.34 nanometer. Okay. Now the stability of the helix is given by the hydrogen bond and one base pair stacks over the other. The stacking of the base pair one upon the other gives the stability to the helix. Now you can see the diagram here of the DNA. This is the sugar phosphate backbone. Okay, this is the sugar phosphate backbone. Okay, and these colored are the bases. So here, from here we can see that if you see the polarity, or if you know the polarity of the one chain, you can find the polarity of the other because both are anti-parallel. And if you know the base sequences of the one chain, you can get the base sequences of the other chain. Okay. Now this is the major group. We also discussed here that this particular turn is having what? A particular helix is having 3.4 nanometer distance, and when approximately 10 base pairs are there, so when we divide 3.4 by 10, we get 0.34. That is the distance between the two base pairs. Okay. This we can call as minor groove. Okay, the depression here is very small, so we called it as minor groove. And this is what? This is the major groove in the DNA. Now what is central dogma? Now central dogma was proposed by Francis Crick. Okay, and he told that the genetic information flows from DNA to RNA to protein. Now when DNA gets replicated and forms a copy, that is known as replication. Now this DNA is present in the nucleus, so the message which have to be translated is transported by a RNA, that is known as the messenger RNA, and the conversion of the DNA to messenger RNA is nothing but transcription, and messenger RNA is now converted into a functional protein which is essential for the physiological process of the body or living of the body, and that process is known as translation. Okay, so DNA to DNA is replication, then the transcription, and then the translation. In some viruses there is a reverse flow of the information, like in HIV. So from RNA DNA is formed, so we know that when the DNA is transformed into RNA we called it transcription. So when RNA is formed from the DNA we'll call it as reverse transcription, and the enzyme responsible for this reverse transcription is reverse transcriptase. Okay, so we studied the structure of DNA here, salient features of the DNA double helix. Okay, the DNA polynucleotide chain. Okay, how it is formed, how the nucleotide is formed, nitrogenous bases, which are the basic nitrogenous bases, sugar which is present, and what is the difference between the ribose and the deoxyribose. Okay, and the chemical nature of the nucleotide and how the phosphate is linked. Okay, now you have, this is the basis of the chapter, that is molecular basis of inheritance. In the other lecture we'll study with the packaging of the DNA. Okay.